Hi everyone, speaking to you from Visy's beverage can site at Yatala, as Mark mentioned. Real quick, Visy has 4 beverage can sites across Australia and New Zealand. Output for our Yatala site is approximately 582 million cans. And obviously to appreciate, compressed air is very, very important part of that process. The project that we're going to talk about is approximately 12 months old. We've just had our 12-month review. And within Visy, it's the first as-a-service model that we've attempted in any business arm. I'm sure you know there's quite a few different business arms within the Visy empire. And I believe it's one of the first air as a service. I know we've touched on heat and cooling, but one of the first air as a service, I believe, in definitely Southeast Queensland. So there's a little bit of data you can see there on the screen. A bit of background on what we had prior to the system. Obviously, our core business is manufacturing beverage cans. Our previous system was not fit for purpose. It took a lot of distraction away from our maintenance staff and production staff. Obviously, we want them to be focusing on manufacturing those beverage cans. We had 2 fixed speed oil injected compressors and 1 VSD. Not really ideal for what we need. There was no load sharing. They were air cooled, so obviously they put out a lot of heat, which is not ideal for our application. We're running on a lot of low pressure components that were throttled down high pressure, so obviously, as you'd appreciate, extremely inefficient. Basically, the system that we have now was a complete rethink. You can see the data there. We've achieved 37% energy savings with this new system, and complementing that, 3 ultimate oil-free compressors, so a big change from our old oil guzzlers of the past, and they're water cooled, so we have no ambient heat going back out into the factory at all, so that makes it a lot more pleasant for our team here within the factory. And we've split the system up, so there's a high pressure and a low pressure. So through this process, we identified some components on site that could be supplied by a low pressure system. So we've got 2 dedicated compressors to that. And quite recently, we've potentially identified another bit of equipment that can be supplied directly by the low pressure, which is currently on high pressure. So that's a potential unlock moving forward 12 months in. And a big key feature there, second from the bottom there, is we can actually spill between those 2 sides. So if we do have a breakdown or an issue with the low pressure side, we can actually spill over our high pressure supply into that system through the use of quite a fancy electronically controlled valve. So that gives us additional redundancy within that system as well. So that's a real winner for us here on site. We now have redundancy within our system, and we have stable, suitable dry air, which is fit for our purpose here. We have had a lot of trouble with dew point on our old system, and that has pretty much become null and void with this new system. So we're getting the air we need at a temperature we need and a quality we need across the board. All of this is controlled by a SAM, which Climatech installed as part of the process. So that lives on the wall there. It basically, in parallel, runs the high pressure and the low pressure, and sends needs and brings demand on the compressors as needed, which has taken away any need for anyone on site other than myself in a monitoring capacity to have any interaction with the system itself. So we've gone from having maintenance staff, after hours, production staff having to attend to compressor issues, to having no one have to have any interaction with the compressors. So it's taken a lot of distraction away, and it's allowed us to, as I touched on before, focus on our core activity on site, manufacturing beverage cans. Big one there, the 37% energy saving has been a real winner for us on site. Moving on. So basically, as you can see there on the left, we at Visy provide those things there. Water, network connection, air, drainage, which is a fancy way to say where we can put our waste. Not that there's a lot of waste from the system. Obviously, electricity and the building. Everything Climatech there supplies obviously is within the confines of our factory. We've got a little bit of a footprint in our MCC and network room that the guys have tapped into. But by and large, it's been little to no interruption to site activity. We haven't engrossed in terms of footprint into the production area. We haven't taken up any necessary space within our control room. And actual fact, just on impact to production, we tied in our low pressure side system with a planned 4 hours interruption to production output. We'd allowed for 6, so we had a win there. And we did the major tie-in of the high pressure side. We allowed a 32-hour window, and we had that done within 18. So minimal impact to production on a number of fronts, but obviously with those outages, they were a real win to get them done in those minimal timeframes. Moving on there. Biggest thing for us, our budget certainty. You can see that there on the top line. With the model that we've got with Climatech, we can forecast ahead with the data we have to know what our charges will be in line with our air usage. That's quite a contrast to our previous old in-house system. It was, due to the nature of the equipment, it was very ad hoc and very erratic when it came to maintenance breakdowns and that sort of thing. So we've got a lot of stability in that space, which has made things a lot more palatable for us here at site. Last thing I want to touch on down there, obviously I've mentioned core business. The real big winner for us has obviously been that just the takeaway. Our core business is beverage cans and supplying our customers. This partnership with Climatech has allowed us to really put both eyes back on that in terms of having to worry about intermittent air supply, quality of air, reliability of our previous system. That's been the real, apart from the monetary benefits, that's been the big win for us. We can have our production staff focusing on production, and maintenance staff focusing on more effective, more value-adding tasks. And we've obviously had a gain in our performance in our equipment due to the higher quality of air. So it's ticked quite a few boxes along the way. As I said, we're 12 months in. From a site point of view, we're extremely happy with where we're at so far.
Thanks, Mitchell. I've got a couple of slides here just from the Climatech Zero side in sort of general. So I guess there's some pros and cons, and you can do different things. So for some sites, it might be that they want an energy performance contract and they're not as interested in utilities as a service. But I guess what we're talking about today is all the benefits that you can have if you did choose to go down the utilities as a service route. And the example that we're sort of going through today is compressed air, but it can be done for heating, cooling, hot water systems, steam systems, whatever you sort of like. So as part of the utilities as a service, like Climatech Zero would be the key point and single point of responsibility. And we have no sort of split objectives because when we deliver an as a service project, we're responsible for the uptime as well as the energy performance, as well as, basically owning and operating, servicing and maintaining that asset for the lifetime of the asset. And obviously there's a bit of flexibility on what time period you might want your agreement for. But because the utilities as a service is us taking ownership for that whole lifetime, we're optimizing to give the lowest cost of that utility over the entire lifetime of the asset. And we're optimizing based on that. And in a traditional sense, you might have a design team that would do the design of a system, and then a different company that might deliver the project, and then a different company again that might do the ongoing service and maintenance. And they might be optimizing for different things. You might end up with a project that gets delivered to a maintenance company, and the maintenance company says, this is horrible to service and maintain. Why is it being sort of built like this? And so because everything's all through one party, we're optimizing for the entire lifetime of the asset. So with just the model in general, it has a very good alignment between sort of what's best for the customer. So I think it adds a lot of value in that sense. Another thing, like the ideal scenario for utilities as a service would be if you have any significant energy use assets on site that are coming, not, for falling over yet, but, coming to end of life. where perhaps you're speaking to the finance team already about there's some upcoming CapEx going to be coming down the line because we know these systems at end of life. That's the perfect time to start looking and doing the engineering works for utilities as a service, because quite often you might end up with a like-for-like replacement on your equipment on site, where there may be an opportunity for significant energy savings and a utilities as a service option that would then leave you with no money down, and that CapEx that you've been planning for to spend can be, used elsewhere. So that's always the best sort of target, is if you have any upcoming significant energy users coming towards end of life. That's a great place to start the conversation. So just a little bit around, sort of Climatech Zero versus the customer. So we'll take on the complete risk of running the asset, including sort of failure. And because we're responsible for that and we are taking on risk, we have a lot of redundancy in the system, because if something breaks down, we want to know about it immediately. So we have a lot of on-site monitoring as well. And also the redundancy allows the system to keep running while we send someone to site to fix it or discover what the problem is. And so from the site's perspective, they might not even know that something has gone wrong. We've already fixed it and the redundancy kicked in and it kept running the whole time. And that's just all part of the design. So there'll be also some damages that we'll pay that can be agreed on sort of a case-by-case basis if there's downtime. We are responsible for replacing any failed equipment as well as service and maintenance. And because we're actually paying for the electricity that's coming into the system for the compressed air system, we're incentivized to run it as efficiently as possible. So there's the way the structure's set up is that we're going to run this utility as efficiently as we can for the lifetime of this as a service agreement. Because of the way that it's structured, we're incentivized to do it as such. And then from the site perspective, I think, Mitchell did a great job of going through the pros and cons on site and the benefits that they're seeing. But yeah, they're basically able to use the air as and when they want and when they need, and it's our responsibility just to make sure it's there and at the quality that we've agreed on for them to use it in their production system, allow them to basically put both eyes back on what they do best, which is the production on site. We might have a little bit of a back and forth with Mitchell here, but one of the things that we provide to utilities as a service customers is sort of we'll connect into their on-site data. And so here's just a screenshot from, and you can see there, in the green is the total airflow. The baseline model power is sort of the model that we built on what energy they would be using if we hadn't done the upgrade, which is the top blue line. And then we're also measuring the current plant power in purple for the compressed air system. And so as we sort of showed earlier, it's like approximately 37% energy saving across the system. But this type of information is available live to the customer. So you can log in at any point and, depending on how quickly the data points are coming in, you can just see how your savings are going in near real time. Is there anything, I guess, that you wanted to add there, Mitchell?
It was actually just, with this pre-monitoring, it was links into a question that was put to Annie. We had Steve and some other members of the Climatech team on site gathering that baseline for a good, I think it was almost 6 months prior to commencement of the project. So that was a real benefit for us to actually capture how a beverage can site uses compressed air. It's a little bit different to most probably other high-speed manufacturing situations. So we really put the time in from both sides, a Visy side and a Climatech side, to gather that data and get that baseline. And I think as a result, you can see there the results speak for themselves, that the hard work we put in to get that baseline has given us the result with the improvement there, as you can see.
Cool. Yeah, and I just see a question come through from John in the chat there. Yeah, so Climatech Zero is accredited for VEEPs and ESCIs. And so if there is, for example, you have a site in New South Wales or Victoria, or you want to claim ACCUs, then we can claim those certificates as part of the project, just to help the commercials overall. So that's something that we do just for every project that we deliver. And I guess this is just the summary before and after energy use. And if anyone wants to just have a conversation or contact, please let me know.